Fellas, today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be doing that low elo bronze to platinum tier list. If you're new to my channel, I usually just rant about random topics in relation to Overwatch 2, but in today's video, I'm going to be helping you guys out, giving you my little Battle of Olympus post-patch tier list. Gonna keep it a buck. There's going to be some controversy on here. Just warning you guys right now, but keep in mind, it is for low elo, so if you're high elo, don't come at me like,
but he's good at high elo, he's good at my games.
This is for low elo, guys. Low elo only. Also, we're almost at 1,000 subs. If we could hit it, that'd be amazing. All right, well, we're kicking off this list with an easy S tier. Ramattra has a good matchup spread against most tanks. Honestly, decent against RoadHog. RoadHog is the most dominant tank right now, so if you have a good matchup spread against him, you're definitely going to be up there on the tier list. He's also very good against Orisa, and I was saying this in a previous video that I think once Hog gets nerfed, I think Ramattra will be the best tank in the game. His ultimate is also crazy OP, and his Nemesis form movement speed is just completely unbalanced as well. I've personally been playing it quite a bit of Ramattra, and there hasn't really been that many times where I've said to myself, oh, I wish I was a different character there. There isn't really anything Ramattra is bad at, and overall, he's just a great solid pick. DoomFist right now has a terrible matchup spread amongst the top tier tanks, especially on top of that, he just got nerfed as well, taking some of his power back that he used to have. I feel like if we ever see a Reinhardt meta, DoomFist would be a good counter pick to that, but right now, we're just seeing a lot of Orisa, a lot of RoadHog, and a lot of Ramattra, so I don't think we're going to be seeing that much DoomFist. On top of that, another subsidiary to this is that Ana is very strong right now as well. As soon as DoomFist goes in, he just gets purple, then instantly dies. It's honestly a tough life for DoomFist right now, so I think C tier is a good spot for him. Next, we have Wrecking Ball. In my opinion, probably the weakest tank right now. It doesn't really provide any value. Utility of Ball is quite difficult to use, especially at lower ranks. I'd say Ball is good for stalling payloads and sites and just waiting for your team to get back and stalling the timer out, but other than that, there's really no reason to pick him when other tanks are just way stronger than Ball is. Okay, here we go. We got RoadHog. Obviously, easy S tier. Probably one of, if not the best tank in the entire game right now. Hog is wreaking havoc throughout every single rank in the game. My little tip for you, if you want free elo right now, just play RoadHog. He's so broken, it's actually unreal. Every time somebody gets hooked by RoadHog, it's literally one uninstall. In all seriousness though, he has a great matchup spread across the entire game right now. The only thing that really counters him is on a purple grenade and also Junkerqueen purple, but guess what? That can get cleansed by Kiriko. There's literally no counterplay right now. The tanks that kind of do okay into him is Orisa, most notably, Zarya in my opinion, and also Sigma. There is some Hog changes coming, so we will see where he ends up on the tier list after those, but for now, easily S tier, probably number 1 on the entire list. D.Va right now feels pretty balanced. Honestly, she isn't too OP, but she isn't the weakest tank out there. She's pretty good into characters such as Junkrat and Pharah, and also, if you're good with D.Va, you can be very, very good and dominate higher game. But if you're not, honestly, there's no reason to pick her up right now. There's just better tanks in the game. Another thing about D.Va is you should be picking her as a counter pick hero to the enemy team comp and not starting off the game with her. Oh, my favorite green crab, Orisa. Orisa has climbed through the ranks due to a few buffs that she has received. Also, her matchup spread against RoadHog plays well into her favor. In my opinion, there isn't really any weaknesses to Orisa besides Zarya. She provides great CC, great utility, her ultimate's very strong, and if you play around her ability cooldowns very well, she has great survivability. Now here's where things might get a little controversial. I'm putting Junkerqueen in A tier. Through the past couple of patches, Junkerqueen has received extensive buffs. She's literally received buffs to every single one of her abilities. On top of that, she has a great ultimate engage tool. With these buffs, her survivability feels pretty strong, her movement is fluid, and also she does a lot of damage. Not to mention, her knife actually provides pretty good utility alongside her purple and her ultimate. Honestly, overall, a solid pick. Oh, Reinhardt honestly deserves C tier. I don't think he's unplayable, but he's just a niche character. Ever since they switched Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, shield characters have not really been that good, and Reinhardt hasn't found his footing. The only saving graces about Reinhardt right now is that his shield is 1200 HP, it can be good into RoadHog, and his shatter is also very, very strong. To be honest, there's no real reason to pick Reinhardt right now when RoadHog is so strong, Orisa and Ramattra. Honestly, I'm sad to do this, putting Winston in B tier. Right now, he's just in a balanced state. He was pretty good when Zarya was very strong. He had a good matchup against her, but since we are seeing so much RoadHog right now, Winston kind of just gets destroyed by Hog. So right now, B tier tier, good spot for Winston. Once Hog gets nerfed, I think we'll see a little bit more of Winston, probably shift up to A tier. For now, he sits comfortably in B tier. It's good to play Winston when they have a Reinhardt, Sigma, or Zarya. His cleave is still pretty good going through shield, and also he can get on the backline and harass the supports very effectively. Another controversial take, Zarya, A tier. I think Zarya is very underrated right now. The recent energy changes she got actually makes her very, very good into Orisa. When she did get her bubbles nerf, she struggled with maintaining energy charge, but now since they fixed that and she maintains energy a lot easier, Zarya is definitely up there on my picks. Now I know you guys may not agree, but
Zarya is bad. She got nerfed so hard.
in my opinion, guys, I think Zarya is completely underplayed right now. Give her a try. Honestly, you might be surprised with how strong she actually is. And last but not least for the tank role, we have Sigma. In my opinion, I think Sigma is a very, very strong defensive character. He isn't as dominant on attack, but on maps that are one capture point then payload, he's very good on that first capture point site. A map such as King's Row, Sigma's very, very strong on the first point of that. Also, he has a pretty good matchup into the top 3 meta picks right now, being Ramattra, Hog, and Orisa. So for that reason, I'm putting him at the top of A tier. To be honest, he's probably the most balanced tank in Overwatch right now. His ultimate is great, his ability rotations flow very, very nicely. It's just crazy to think about that all these tanks are just defined by RoadHog. It's actually crazy. Kicking off the supports on the list, we have Ana. And to be honest, Ana deserves an easy S tier. Right now, she is the only counter to RoadHog in the support role besides Kiriko, and to be honest, her purple and her anti just go a long way. Her recent buffs to anti make her very, very strong, and also her DPS and healing output. Not to mention, her ultimate is probably one of the best support ultimates in the entire game, buffing up the tank to making them basically invincible. Now this is going to be a little controversial. Moira in A tier on a Halzeey tier list, huh? I thought you hate that character. To be honest, I do hate this character, but since it is a low elo tier list, I think Moira deserves a place in the strong category. Now hear me out. Utility and low elo debatably doesn't matter as much, and if you can kill the enemies faster than they can kill you, then that's all that really matters. Moira has a very strong healing output and also a very strong DPS output. Baptiste is honestly just unreal. All of his abilities are so strong. His lamp is incredibly overpowered. His left shift instantly heals your teammates basically to half HP if they're very, very low. Not to mention his window is an extremely strong ultimate. I just did a video on Baptiste yesterday explaining why I put him S tier, so make sure to go check that one out. Brigette, in my opinion, is not that strong right now. To be honest, I think once we see more of a dive-centric meta, she will become strong. But right now, playing against RoadHog and Ramattra and all these types of characters, Brigette just doesn't really do that good into them. Yes, she did just receive a little bit of a buff on her shield, but I don't think it's enough to propel her back into B or even A tier. Here we go. Kiriko, I have to put her in S tier, but the only reason she's going in S tier is because of her cleanse. That's the only reason. It's because she can cleanse anti right now, and that makes her so strong. Her ultimate has received multiple nerfs. To be honest, I think it's definitely fallen down the ultimate power list. I think a change that Blizzard might do is remove the cleansing effect on purple soon, and once they do that, Kiriko is definitely going to fall way down the tier list in my opinion. There's a lot better supports right now than Kiriko, but it's just her cleanse is so strong. To be honest, I think Lucio isn't as strong in low elo as you might think. Yes, his ultimate is the best ultimate in the entire game in my opinion. I just don't think Lucio is that good in low elo. To be good with Lucio, you should be able to communicate with your teammates and tell them when you're going to speed in or speed out or put your healing on, etc. But if you're not communicating with your team, then Lucio honestly isn't really that good. Zenyatta is going to be going into C tier. To be honest, Zenyatta in low elo as well. He's so immobile. He's just so immobile, and characters that can get on him easily destroy him. Because people in low elo, they don't have good movement. So if you get it on a Zenyatta, he's gonna die instantly. Yes, he does have a good ultimate, but it's not gonna matter if he's always gonna be running back from the respawn point. Oh, here we go, Mercy. Probably the best support in the entire game right now. A must pick in all of your games. Not to mention, in push, she's extremely strong as well. It completely cuts off the need to run all the way back from your spawn if Mercy can just revive you. Her ultimate grants her great mobility and healing for your teammates, and not to mention, her damage boost is absolutely insane. Now, moving into the DPS characters, starting off with Ashe, I'm putting Ashe in B tier because, frankly, she's pretty hard to play. To actually deal damage with her effectively requires a bit of skill. Her ultimate is pretty strong, but there is better hit scans on this list. Next we have Bastion. In my opinion, Bastion turret form is probably one of the best base abilities in the entire game. It provides so much damage output, and not to mention Bastion has base armor, which already makes him tanky. If the enemy team has a Pharah, Bastion does very well into Pharah and shooting her down, especially when the movement in lower elos isn't as good. Next, we got our boy Cassidy. Honestly, Cassidy's pretty strong as well. His right click does a lot of damage to tanks. His grenade is extremely overpowered. You literally shoot one bullet from your left click and you throw your grenade and the enemy team dies instantly. To be honest, he does need a little bit of buffs, I think. His high noon is pretty weak, but overall his other abilities in his kit are pretty strong. Now another controversial pick, Echo, going into C tier. Don't play this character if you're low elo. There's so many more easier characters to play than Echo. I don't even play Echo. I don't even play her. Like, I'd much rather just play something that's way easier and I get way more value out of. Please don't play Echo. If you do, you're literally throwing. Next, we got our boy Soldier. Honestly, extremely good character for climbing out a low elo. He has his heal, self-sufficient, his ultimate is extremely strong, Reinhardt isn't good right now, Ana's also be playing a lot, Mercy's being played a lot. It's the perfect storm for Soldier. He's extremely strong right now. Here we go, another controversial pick. Genji, A tier, easily. Easily! His ultimate is so OP! It's so good! His abilities are so strong, nobody in low elo can hit you. His deflect cooldown is absolutely ridiculous. His deflect hitbox is ridiculous. To be honest, the Genji nerfs did absolutely nothing, and this character is still extremely broken. And here we go, Hanzo flying straight into the unplayable tier. If you're low elo, don't even think about playing Hanzo. I know you're gonna be like, oh, I'm a smurf. I'm literally a smurf on Hanzo. But I'm telling you, if you get one pick every 2 minutes, you're not doing anything with the character. Just don't play him, please. Now, on the positive note, Junkrat, easily an S tier pick. He's so strong right now in every elo of the game. He just dominates the current meta right now. And not to mention, his bomb/grenade combo does so much damage. It instantly kills 200 HP targets. His trap is extremely strong, and also his Riptire does a massive amount of damage and can easily change the course of a game. Mei coming in C tier. Honestly, you don't want this character OP. If she's strong, the game is just very, very unfun. Basic abilities are pretty good, like her ice block's good, her wall's pretty good, her ultimate's pretty good. But to be honest, since Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, they removed an aspect of Mei where if you mouse 1 to target for a long period of time, it would actually freeze them, and then you could just right-click them. Since they took away some of that power from Mei, she has not been very good and hasn't really found her footing. Pharah for me, definitely an A tier. I think Pharah is very, very strong, especially in lower elos when people have worse aim. And if you can position good on Pharah and be wary of where their DPS are positioned, you can definitely carry a lot of games. You don't even need a Mercy to play her, just having a Mercy makes it a lot easier. The only downside to Pharah, I would say, is her ultimate is pretty weak, but other than that, she provides a lot of utility, she can flush out enemy areas easily, and her attack and defense is very strong. Reaper gonna be going into A tier. I think he's pretty strong right now, has a good matchup spread against all the 3 top tanks, and that's what really matters as Reaper. Reaper is a tank buster at heart, and not to mention his ultimate is amazing for clearing entire enemy teams. Honestly, I hate this character, but she's an S tier pick. Her railgun is way too strong. Even after multiple nerfs, she's still strong. Blizzard needs to nerf her again. It's just the fact that when she gets her ultimate, she gets like 3 to 4 chances to one-shot you. It shouldn't be like that. Her railgun needs a cooldown, but right now, she's just tearing up the DPS role and honestly taking over games. And here we go, Sombra straight to D tier. This character's terrible, honestly. She doesn't really do anything. Her hack and her ultimate is okay, but to be honest, I cannot wait for a rework. Oh, by the way, Sombra's getting reworked, if you guys didn't know that, but yeah, she needs to get reworked. Her kit is just, it's either it's too broken or you can't play her at all. It's just how it works. I was debating putting in unplayable tier, but I think she does have a niche. She's pretty solid on a couple payload maps on defense where her turrets are very useful, and also on the capture point maps, King of the Hills. I do find myself playing her sometimes. Her wall does provide some good utility, her turrets do a lot of damage, and she can pop off during a team fight if she does get her laser going. Torb gonna be going into B tier. His turret's pretty strong, does a lot of damage, he's pretty easy to play, his ultimate is extremely strong, and honestly, low elo, he's not that bad of a pick, to be honest. To be honest, there's just other DPSs that do what he does, but better, and I think Torbjourn needs a little bit of help. Here we go, we got Tracer. Tracer going into A tier. I think she's really strong, especially at low elo. People can't hit this character at all. You literally just dance around people and they literally can't do anything to you. It's so funny. She's a pretty self-sufficient character, meaning she doesn't have to play with her team that much. The only downside with her is her ultimate isn't that strong and it's kinda hard to use. Other than that, if you have good movement, Tracer, solid pick to climb the ranks. And the last character, we have Widow, going into C tier. To be honest, she is better than Hanzo in my opinion, and she's a lot safer, but just don't play her. Just don't play her. You're gonna find a lot more success on characters that aren't Widow and aren't Hanzo and Sombra and all these unplayable characters. Just play something that's easier.